This video is for educational purposes only. Slashed, decapitated, and shoved into a tarp. July 14th, 2019, 17-year-old Bianca Devins, an Instagram influencer, left home for a concert with someone she regarded as a friend, but never made it back alive.
So I was reading all the messages, and they're saying that Bianca's dead.
Oftentimes, we've heard of the dangers of making friends over the internet, but no one ever thinks they'll fall victim to these dangers. Unfortunately, for young Bianca, what began as an innocent online connection spiraled into a living nightmare.
My name is Brandon. The victim is Bianca Michelle Devins.
Born in the digital age, Bianca Devins had grown up in the vast world of social media where she had many identities. On Instagram, she was the goth Lolita, the girl next door, and the edgy teen. On Tumblr, Switchblades. On 4chan, Oxy. On Snapchat, Virgo Venus. And on Discord, Bia. Close friends called her Bia or B. She wasn't without her online haters. Many, often men and strangers, labeled her with insulting names. But having grown up online, Bianca would laugh it off. It wasn't anything new. Offline, she had strong opinions. She took political signs from her neighbor's yard and was active after the Parkland shooting. Despite facing her struggles, she cared deeply for others. She would counsel another girl through mental health problems, draw a portrait for a stranger, or be the only kind person to a bullied classmate. Bianca loved small joys, babies, kittens, movies, and dressing up in pastel wigs for costume play. But her own self-love was a challenge. Her full name was Bianca Michelle Devins, and she lived in Utica, New York. Her home was full of life, with many people living there. Her mother, Kim, grew up nearby and had Bianca when she was only 17. Bianca had a younger sister, Liv, that she loved so much. Their father, Mike, left when Bianca was young. He had been a good dad at times, but often he wasn't around. Bianca's mental health problems started showing when she entered middle school. She changed schools in 9th grade but never fit the typical beauty standards of her area. She had a boyfriend, Derek Ward, in her freshman year, and they bonded over shared family troubles. However, as time passed, Bianca's behavior became more unpredictable. She began showing signs of borderline personality disorder, which was clear by her unstable emotions and self-image. By high school, she often felt too anxious to even leave the house. Loud noises and shouting upset her. Eventually, she had to study from home. At home, she dove deeper into her online life. She crafted many online identities, each tailored to a specific audience or community, but the most famous one was closest to who she really was, a young, pretty, and deeply depressed girl. However, this fame wasn't all positive. There was a much darker side to it. You see, many young women like her attracted older male followers, who were nicknamed orbiters. These men idolized the popular e-girl types to the point of obsession, and would shower them with gifts, hoping for something in return. But it was so dangerous. If these girls ever did anything that didn't meet the men's expectations, they would lash out. They could leak their personal information or even threaten them. In Bianca's case, she had a habit of connecting with these orbiters. She was nice to them, even too nice sometimes, and so never really shut them down. One of the significant relationships that defined Bianca's life was with Rob, a young man she met online in early 2017. He was 17 and she 15 when they met. Their connection was quick, because Bianca saw him as a partner to share her loneliness, but it was extremely toxic. Their relationship had its highs and lows. In 2017, Bianca ran away to be with Rob. Her mom, Kim, tracked her down with the help of a private investigator, but when the police got involved, she tried to run in front of a car, landing her in a mental health facility for some days. Bianca's relationship with Rob was extremely messy. Rob had his own issues, and the two of them together often made things worse. And no one liked him because he was toxic. Everyone accused him of trying to control her, from stalking her online to showing up at her house without warning. It was just so bad, especially when he shared intimate content of them without her permission. Bianca and her mom reported it to the police, but when Rob threatened to take his own life, Bianca stopped helping with the investigation. Yet, Bianca kept going back to him and kept on running away to be with him. Her mental health kept declining, and at one point, she shared her thoughts of jumping off a building. This got her admitted to another mental health facility called Pinefield, where she felt she had friends for the first time in a long time. Yet not long after being released, the pull of her toxic relationship had her leaving home to be with Rob again. Trying to keep her safe, Bianca's mom put her on house arrest, making her wear an ankle monitor. But Bianca wasn't having it. She cut it off and ran away. This pattern kept repeating, and eventually she was sent off to St. Anne Institute in Albany. This is when things started to turn around. The institute changed things for Bianca. It offered the structure, therapy, and support she needed to start fresh. She connected with a counselor, began therapy, and in a social media post, even thanked her mom and sister for their support. By early 2019, she was back home and things were looking up. She finished high school, made plans for college, and reconnected with her friends, including her ex-boyfriend, Ward, who still had feelings for her. But sadly, it wouldn't remain this way for long. In the spring of 2019, Bianca met Brandon Clark on social media. 21-year-old Brandon was from the Syracuse area, which was a short drive from Utica. He had a lot of interests ranging from fitness and gaming to anime. At first glance, he might seem like any other young man engrossed in pop culture, but behind his casual interests was a dark past filled with violence and trauma. When Brandon was just 12 years old, he had to witness his father holding his mother hostage at knife point for 10 hours, all because he was convinced she was being unfaithful. This traumatic incident landed his father in jail, and soon, his mom would also be arrested for some unrelated reasons. So Brandon found himself in the foster care system, which would further shape his character. Joe, Brandon's childhood best friend, though not his real name, described him as nerdy and excessively polite. But he was extremely obsessive, and their friendship strained and eventually broke when Joe discovered Clark's growing obsession with Lolicon, a Japanese manga focusing on young girls. Their relationship reached its breaking point when Joe found out that 16-year-old Clark was texting a girl who was only 12. Joe and some friends confronted Clark, and he said, "Trust me, you're all better off not being concerned with the stuff I do or think of doing, because you won't like what you see." Joe chose to cut ties. To Kim, Bianca's mother, however, Brandon Clark was nothing short of charming. He painted a picture of a troubled childhood, discussing his time bouncing around the foster care system, gaining sympathy and understanding. So, when Bianca excitedly told her mom about attending a Nicole Dollanganger concert in Queens, New York, Kim didn't see a reason to deny her. She just wanted the assurance that Bianca would be brought back to Utica safely right after. She was so excited. This would be her first concert without any supervision. However, despite Brandon's friendly facade, there were subtle signs that something was off. You see, Bianca was clear about the boundaries of their relationship. She was not interested in dating, but he would occasionally refer to himself as her boyfriend. And Bianca wasn't the only one who picked up on his overstepping. Her friend Chloe mentioned how she had often talked about the unsettling, obsessive messages Brandon would send. But in a world where Bianca was no stranger to such behavior from orbiters, Clark's messages, despite being creepy, didn't ring any immediate alarms. After receiving countless such messages, they became very easy to ignore. Bianca looked forward to that concert. She was to meet up with Oipu, an online friend from her virtual community. This was their first real-world encounter, and for Bianca, it was a genuine connection. They laughed, shared moments, and even held hands. In whispered exchanges, Bianca confided in a friend about Oipu. She was so excited. "He smells so nice. He's perfect. I'm in love." At one point, they shared an intimate kiss that was supposed to be their little secret, but Brandon, lurking in the shadows, saw it. July 14th, 2019, should have been a day like any other. Bianca, after a night of laughter and music, should have slipped quietly into her home, tiptoed past the living room, and snuggled up in her bed, beside the comforting pastel artwork she'd created. But she would never find herself in her bed again. In the wee hours of the morning, a bone-chilling post appeared on Bianca's Discord server. A ghastly image depicted a young woman with raven-colored hair and winged eyeliner, blood smeared across her face, her throat gruesomely slashed. The message accompanying the image read, "Sorry, you're gonna have to find somebody else to orbit." To many online, it seemed like a dark, twisted joke. Could it be a cheap horror production? But the reality was far more sinister than the fiction. Within hours, whispers of Bianca's absence turned into frenzied concern. Details started to trickle in, painting a grim picture of the night. At the concert, while Brandon momentarily stepped away, Oipu and Bianca had stolen a private moment, a kiss. Brandon had witnessed it, and Bianca went missing. A flurry of distress calls bombarded the Utica Police Department by 7:21 a.m., reporting the photos. Brandon's family also reached out, having found a suicide note at his aunt's house. On his Instagram, he made cryptic posts which spoke volumes. A bloody arm of a woman captioned, "I'm sorry, Bianca," and his bio read the current date as his death day. And he even sent a confession to his mother through a Facebook message that read, "I'm so sorry, Mom. I love you." Then came a 911 call, an eerily calm voice on the other end. It was Brandon Clark.
My name is Brandon. The victim is Bianca Michelle Devins.
He shared his location, mentioned committing a murder-suicide, and expressed his desire to be an organ donor. Before the call abruptly ended, he ominously declared, "I have to do the suicide part of the murder-suicide." When the police arrived at Poe Street, a haunting scene awaited them. Brandon lay atop a green tarp, a small fire crackling ominously nearby where he had destroyed his laptop and hard drive. He had spray-painted the words, "May you never forget me," on the ground, and he was live-streaming to his Instagram followers. Clark then proceeded to cut his throat before taking a selfie, which he added to his Instagram story. "Ashes to ashes," the caption read. The weight of what had transpired hung heavy in the air. Bianca Devins, a girl who once sought refuge in the digital realm, had become its tragic victim, but the internet wasn't done with her. After she sadly passed away, pictures from her last moments spread quickly online, especially on the sites she used to like. Within hours, the horrifying photos were shared and reshared by thousands of users across various platforms. This rapid spread was powered by morbid curiosity, trolls, and the dark corners of the internet where such graphic content was not just consumed, but celebrated. And no matter how hard they tried, these social media platforms couldn't stop it. Even when they tried to remove them, new ones would just pop up fast. Meanwhile, in the real world, the wheels of justice began turning. Brandon Clark was quickly apprehended, brought to the hospital, and charged. Though he had initially pleaded not guilty, evidence and the weight of public sentiment soon forced a change of plea. In February 2020, Clark pled guilty, confessing to the second-degree murder of Bianca Devins. He was subsequently sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Bianca Devins' life and its tragic end will forever serve as a grim reminder of the good and bad side of the internet. A world where connections can be both a refuge and a danger, where platforms can uplift and harm, and where safety and mental health stand as ever important in a rapidly evolving landscape.